Hello, my name's Tristan. I'm the Director of Sales at Translation Exchange. Want to welcome everybody for joining our webinar this morning. We're really excited to have all of you on board and look forward to giving you a brief introduction to Translation Exchange and how you can translate your email marketing campaigns using MailChimp and Translation Exchange. Joining us today, we have Jonas Kessler, who's our Director of Business Development. He's going to be spending a few minutes first to go through a couple of slides. And we also have Michael Berkovich, who's our founder and CEO, who will be giving a demo of Translation Exchange. Jonas, over to you.
Great. Thanks for the intro, Tristan. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Have some exciting things to show you all, and hopefully you like what you see. And if there's any questions afterwards, you can feel free to chat them in the box there, and we'll go ahead and make sure we have enough time to hopefully get to everybody's questions. And if we don't, by all means, our lines of communication are open, so we're more than happy to have a conversation offline at any point as well. But thanks a lot for everybody for joining us. Just a little bit of background in terms of the company's history. We are about 2 years old. Most of us here have some kind of experience within the localization industry, though. Both Michael and our other co-founder, Ian, had worked together at a couple different companies in the Los Angeles area. One was called Genie, the other was called Yammer. And as engineers, they were tasked with localizing both those companies' websites and entire product offering suites in up to 70 different languages. Needless to say, it was an extremely beneficial and learning experience, and they were able to gain a lot of insight in terms of the technology and tools that are utilized in this particular industry. And obviously, after creating that project, they realized that there was a lot of benefit that could be gained, not only for those two companies, but really any other company out there these days who are at the stage of either scaling or trying to break out into more language markets. If anybody has ever been involved on the ground floor of this type of localization, you know what kind of a process it can be. This next slide here gives you a little bit of a taste in terms of the complexity of the process that people are really encountering these days on an everyday basis. But obviously, if you're doing something as simple as, let's say, a one-off Microsoft Word document, you know, there's no sweat involved there. It's a pretty simple process. You just send that to your translation agency, they translate it and send it back to you. Of course, as we all know, content exists in so many more different places these days than just Word documents. It could be, let's say, for Word CMS or web CMSs, if you're managing a website, maybe a mobile app, maybe you've got human resources documents or even social media. It can involve a lot of manual labor. Ask anybody who's actually had to translate some of these things, and they'll tell you it involves a lot of cutting, copying, and pasting of code. Obviously, humans make mistakes. If you miss one line of code or one punctuation mark, it can actually inhibit your ability to get that project out on time. Obviously, you're using pretty old technologies as well in the method that most people are utilizing. It could be everything from spreadsheets to uploading that code into an FTP, like a Drive, Google, or rather a box, Dropbox, Google Drive sort of scenario. You're emailing back and forth to translators who might be on the other point of the globe. It makes communication very difficult as well. So, you know, on average, if you're trying to just, let's say, translate one web page into 3 or 4 languages, anyone who's done this before can tell you it can take weeks and weeks of back and forth communication. So what Michael and Ian were able to do was create these sets of integrations, and roughly about 3 or 4 dozen integrations that we've built to date thus far. So different APIs and software development kits that with just a few clicks of a button, you can easily identify where your source content lies, have it wrapped up into a format that translation agencies are familiar with, such as an XLIF file. Choose the agency that you want to actually translate it, and then the agency does what they do best. You can actually review it back in context, either within your website or mobile app or in an email campaign, for instance, before it gets published and goes live. Send it back with any reviews or any comments, and then with a few more clicks of a button, it goes right back into where that content existed. So no more cutting, copying, and pasting, usually cutting down the time involved in these projects by up to about 70 or 80%. So what used to take maybe weeks, if not months, can now take days and sometimes even hours. In terms of the stacks that we have built out to date, you're looking at everything from the marketing platform side on e-commerce marketing automation like the Marketos, MailChimps, Oracle Eloquas of the world, social networks, web content management systems like WordPress, Adobe, Sitecore, Drupal as well. And on the enterprise stack of things, you're looking at everything from HR management, knowledge base, document management, sales, even customer service apps like Zendesk and Desk. It's a pretty robust roadmap that we're working on currently. As I mentioned, we've got about 40 or 50 integrations already ready to go out of the box, but we're fairly customer demand driven. So if there's a specific need or a want or desire for any particular integration to get built that we haven't already built, we can take a look at our roadmap, and depending upon how urgent it is, we can actually push that up fairly quickly. And more often than not, we can get these built out in a couple of weeks or less. Now, in terms of the vendor marketplace that we use also, which is a great benefit of our software, we are, of course, 100% vendor agnostic. We're not a translation agency, obviously. We are a pure SaaS technology company. So we focus on the technology end of things, and we let the translation agencies do what they do best. So we actually employ two different methods to get your content translated. Obviously, we have machine translation engines like the Bings and Google Translates of the world, but those really would be something more for a very short, kind of one-off, maybe simple 1 or 2 sentence translation project, where you might have, let's say, an internal native speaker who could review that, make sure it's accurate. Of course, for the more important projects, the massive demand generation email blasts, the website translation, mobile apps, you're definitely going to want to have a professional human translator involved with that. The great thing about our system, again, we're vendor agnostic. So if you're currently working with a translator and you're happy with the quality of service and the pricing, we are not here to convince you to go with anybody else. And they can obviously use our platform just like anybody else as well. However, if you're brand new to the translation or localization game, really just at the point of trying to break out into new markets and you don't know who to use, you can upload your content through our system, and the system will choose up to 5 different translation agencies to compete for your business. All you have to do is let them know what the content is, what languages you want to translate it into, and the deadlines. And then within a couple hours or less, you'll be getting 5 different emails from 5 different vendors, and they'll tell you exactly what they can do it for. And you can choose what's best for you based on either pricing, maybe reputation, or perhaps they're specializing in a specific language pair over another that is important to you, or maybe even geographic proximity. Perhaps you're looking for an agency that's within driving or walking distance, so you can actually go in there and discuss these projects face to face when need be. We're roughly working with a couple dozen professional translation partners, but we're adding to that all the time. And obviously, we only accept the highest quality, best, most reputable translation partners in there. So any of the services that you do decide to work with, you should know that you're going to be getting the best in the business, and obviously the highest level of quality translation available. We do also utilize a shared translation memory database. For some of you who are on the phone and might be involved in these projects on a more ground floor level, rather, you would know what translation memory is. But for those of you who don't and are kind of new to this concept, it's a pretty easy idea. We call it TM, or translation memory. And what it is a bank or a library of previously translated terms or phrases that can be leveraged at later times to save you time and money on those projects. So the idea is that once you've translated something once, you should never have to pay to get it translated again. And certainly, with MailChimp, and as we're going to show you in the demo here, email campaigns more often than not are going to have a lot of repeatable content in there. So if it's 1 or 2 lines that stay the same from one email campaign to the next, obviously the more and more you utilize this translation memory in the platform, that TM will grow out. You'll have more and more previously translated terms to leverage, and the idea is that it will save you time and money on subsequent projects. In terms of some of the companies that have adopted our solution recently, you'll see everything on here from small to large companies. GoPro is probably the most recognizable. Jif is an international health benefits provider, helping both small and large companies, domestic and international. We really don't have a magic bullet or target per se that is our sweet spot. We work with small companies in, let's say, Europe and Asia, where obviously it's very, very important when you're starting out in those areas to be in multiple languages, or else you're missing out on a lot of opportunity. Of course, in Europe, you can drive for an hour or 2, and all of a sudden you're in a brand new language market. In America, obviously, you can be doing business for years and years. It's a large enough country where you can do business in predominantly English. But of course, once they're at that level of trying to scale and broaden their influence into other language markets, it really becomes important to create a more efficient and streamlined process to get these kind of projects done. So really, large and small makes no difference. It's obviously wherever somebody feels the pain involved in this process, or really sees that there's a need to get, let's say, any particular content out to the global stage on a really tight deadline. This is really what Translation Exchange was created for. In terms of some of the pricing, this is also listed on our website, so feel free to take a look at that when you have some time. But I can say in my years in this industry, this is some of the most competitive pricing I've ever seen. A lot of times people can get off, utilizing just a starter package for about $50 a month for a couple languages, if you're only doing a small project at 50,000 words. A basic edition is probably our most popular at around $250 a month, allows you to translate up to 250,000 words in 5 languages. Premium for $500 a month at 10 languages, 500,000 words. And then for enterprise, really, if you're looking to do significantly more languages or words, just give us a call and we can take a little deeper dive into what your situation looks like and see if we can come up with a pricing solution that fits your needs. That's pretty much it from my end. Hope all that makes sense so far. And again, we'll open up the forum at the end of the demo here for a couple of questions, if there are any from the audience's end. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and pass the ball over to my colleague, Michael, and he can give you a little inside view on what we've been working on for MailChimp. Hopefully you'll find some value from this.
Tristan and Jonas, thank you so much for doing the introduction. Can you see my screen right now?
Not yet.
Let me just share my screen just 1 second. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Yep. Now you're good.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you again for the introduction, and thanks to everybody who joined us for this webinar. I'm going to give you a demo of how easy it is to use our platform and translate MailChimp email campaigns to multiple different languages. So I set up an account here on MailChimp, and I already put together a little template here for an email. This is actually one of our emails that we used to send previously. It's right here. It's a simple design. The emails can be created either manually by just coding them up, or you can use the template builder tool on MailChimp to put together an email. And a typical process for localizing emails like this is actually just really going and extracting the content from the email, putting it in some kind of Word document, uploading it to a translation company, and then waiting for translations, copying it back. And as Jonas was mentioning earlier, it is quite error prone. And if you're doing it only once, maybe you're dealing only with 1 or 2 languages, maybe the process is not too bad. But as you start scaling up, and if you need to send email campaigns multiple times a week, you quickly run into a situation where you make mistakes, the time increases, you have a lot of people involved. So our goal with Translation Exchange was to optimize this process and make it really simple for any company to send email campaigns in multiple languages without spending too much effort and time and money on the process. So for me to localize this email is basically all I need to do is go to our account here. Currently, I just created a simple account in Translation Exchange for MailChimp, and this is our sources section. So sources section basically is where you manage all the different type of resources that you can import or link to using our connectors. We have an import button at the top right corner here. If I click on it, you will see that there is a quite a long list of different vendors that you can work with, both in marketing space and storage, and even the support events capabilities, the service, and many more plugins that will be going to be available quite shortly. So for this demo, I'm going to use MailChimp. So this is the first time I'm actually doing the connection with the MailChimp account. So we use a secure mechanism called OAuth, which doesn't really even require you to give us any type of credentials in MailChimp. So what you're basically doing here is you're linking your MailChimp account with us. You need to just type password here. This is for, let me just quickly copy it over from here. So basically you're now linking the account, and as soon as the account is linked, it will take you to the next stage where you actually can import content from MailChimp. So as you can see here, it already pulled out the email drafts that I put together inside of MailChimp. I can choose it and I can click on the import button. So now the email is being imported into our system. If I go back to sources section now, you'll see there's a folder for MailChimp that you can expand, and you can look at all the emails that were imported. You can also preview the email right from here. Just click on the preview button, and it will show you the email, the original email I just imported. So let's actually order some translations for this email. I'm going to go to the strings section. We have a mechanism that automatically parses out all the strings from the email, and we can then convert it into importable form or translatable form for translators. We support many different mechanisms how translators can work on this email. In this case, I'm just going to use machines for the sake of the demo. So when you place an order, you do have choices here. As Jonas mentioned before, you have a choice of going with different vendors. You can request quotes from multiple different vendors, or if you know a specific vendor you work with, you can just choose this option as well. Now here, let's just use Google right here, and then Google will do translations for us quite quickly. So I'll select German, Greek, and Russian. So I'll translate all those 3 languages. I can preview the order and complete order. Now, machines are doing it real time, but unlike machines, if you're working with an agency, that will vary based on the agency and how much time they allocate for the project. But it can take anywhere from a couple of hours. Some agencies are really fast at providing translations. It also depends on the language types, and it depends on the language pairs you're ordering. So I believe the order is completed now. So I can go back to sources here. So everything is completed. And now what I can do is I can also continue previewing the email here. Let's choose a different language, Russian language now. So you can see the email preview now in Russian as well. So here is your original copy. Here is your Russian version of it. And we can look at other languages as well. For example, here's German version of it. And then here is the Greek version of the email. So you can review the email. You can reorder translations, especially if you work with a professional translation agency. You can identify elements that you want to retranslate. You can send them requests. We have a communication technology kind of built into our tools as well. And once you're done, the final step is really just publishing translations back. We can publish all of the languages at once. Let me just do like one at a time. So I'll just publish Russian right here. And now the Russian language should be available in MailChimp. So here it is. So you have a mechanism of how you want to label the translated emails. In our case, we just append the language of the email in there as well. We also copy all of the templates, settings from the original email. So for example, if you already set up a list that you want to send the email to, the translated copy of the email will also include all of the same parameters. The only major difference between the emails is that this email is actually in Russian. So now this email is ready to be sent. I can continue, just click with the send button. And then here I will just publish German and Greek. So as you can tell, the process is really simple and straightforward. I can go back to my list of campaigns. So here are all the different campaigns available in multiple different languages. So we completely eliminated all the necessary previously necessary steps for copying and pasting emails, dealing with the HTML code and anything related to putting the translated copy back into the emails. We also utilize this translation memory idea where if you want to change something in the email, in the original one, we have a mechanism to just re-import the template, and when you translate it and publish it back, only the changed parts of the email will be pushed back. So you preserve everything you've done previously. And every next email that you're going to be translating, you will use the same content that you already previously translated before too. And finally, we now offer also automation capabilities. So we can do it where you can set up some kind of timely triggers or workflow scenario where you want those emails. As soon as you create an email, you just check for a new email in MailChimp, automatically import it, automatically submit the order to a vendor of your choosing. And once it's done, we publish it back to you. So basically eliminate all the steps on your side. So once you set up the workflow, the end result will be you'll just see many translated emails in the MailChimp without you actually having to do anything. So this is sort of the short version of the demo that I wanted to show you. Please, if you have any questions, please ask us and we'll try to address anything. So kind of like back to you, Jonas, see if we can answer any questions from the audience.
Great, thanks, Michael. Yeah, it looks like we've got a few questions that have already come in here. I'll obviously leave off last names and company names for privacy's sake, but looks like Bill had asked, what languages or language pairs do you currently support? I can definitely take that one. Pretty much all of them, Bill. We pride ourselves on being able to help with literally every single language pair you can think of, not just the most common ones from English to Spanish or Italian to French, but even the more esoteric ones like Swahili or per se like an Egyptian Arabic we can do. We specialize in the sub language groups as well. So virtually every type of language pair you can think of, our system supports. Yeah, pretty proud about that. The next one we've got from Cindy. Maybe this one's for Michael. What file formats do you currently support? Are there any document or audio file formats that Translation Exchange cannot work with?
Cindy, yeah, it's actually a great question. Thanks for asking that. We actually support, so we actually bring the type of file formats into two categories. We have some files that are about 30 different file formats that are parsable. So you can pretty much drag and upload any type of file format into our system. Now the files that our system understands, it's about, like I was saying, 20 or so formats. We will automatically parse them out and we will import them as different strings, and you'll be able to place orders to those individual strings. Sometimes, every once in a while, somebody comes to us and needs to translate a file format that we don't support. In those cases, we just act as pretty much as a proxy. So you can still upload it to us, and you still can use all of our utilities for submitting quote requests and putting translations with the vendors. In this case, it will be based on the vendor. So when vendors onboard our marketplace, we do ask them what file formats they support. So for example, if you come back to us and you want to upload an image that you need to translate, we will locate a vendor for you that will be able to deal with images. But any files like docx or xleaf, tmx, any type of localization file formats like YAML, JavaScript formats, all of those formats are already supported natively by our system. So to answer your question, we support pretty much any file format.
Cool, great, thanks, Michael. Next one looks like it comes from Adam. He says, can we work with a translation agency of our choosing? Yeah, I'll answer that one, Adam. Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier in the demo here, we are 100% vendor agnostic. Of course, we do have our vendor marketplace, and we absolutely give our stamp of approval in terms of quality for each and every one of them that are working within our software. We don't take anybody that doesn't have a proven reputation of doing quality work. But absolutely, if you're currently working with a vendor and you've been happy with their service and you want to keep that relationship moving, by all means, they can be uploaded into the system as a user. And when we onboard you after purchasing the software, in that same 30-minute phone call or so, we can train them up on how to receive those projects, how to send them back into the platform. So absolutely, you can maintain using them as your preferred vendor, by all means. Let's see, next one here probably is going to be better for Michael, from Josh. Josh asked, our company is very, in big, bold capital letters, very, very concerned about security. Is an on-premise solution available, or is it only off-prem on the cloud?
Well, it's actually like this has been already a few times that we've been asked this question in various meetings. Actually, our solution is both available as a SaaS platform, so you can use the cloud version, that's what I've been showing you, and our solution is actually available as an on-prem solution too. So for companies, large companies, we have a few customers we're working with. For such customers, we can deploy our solution on-prem, and you'll have a full copy of it. You still have, options of what connectors and what systems you want to enable that will basically be able to still import data from external systems, but your content will all be hosted by you. You'll have full control over security. We will provide you with documentation about our API audits, security audits. So all of that stuff is available, and if you need something like that, we have an enterprise package. And as part of the enterprise package, is one of the options is the on-prem solution.
Awesome. Sounds great. I got another one from Mark, which I'll probably be able to handle. Mark asked, I have some colleagues at other companies who would probably benefit from this platform as well. Is there any sort of referral or bonus program that you offer? Yes, I'm glad you asked that. I'm actually heading up the partner program on this end, Mark, so I'd be the tip of the spear in terms of any questions related to partnerships. But absolutely, we have a referral program where we compensate 20% for the value of the contract for anybody that you refer to us. It's very simple. If you want to be part of that partner program as well, feel free to reach out to me offline. I can send you the agreement, just a couple pages, and it outlines how we would give that 20%. And all you have to do is make an introduction. Give us some background on it, who the client is, maybe what kind of technologies they're using, what the situation is, what they're in need of, and the contact info, and then we'll take over from there. We'll do all the heavy lifting, we'll do the demoing, we can answer any technical questions, contract questions as well. But by all means, we're very happy to have this program, and very happy to compensate anybody who does, send business our way. We're eager to work on a partner level in that sense, and more than happy to compensate where applicable. Let's see, we've got one more question in here. Probably looks like a technical related one. I'll pass to Michael. It's from Tina. Tina was asking, we're using a technology that doesn't seem to be supported with an integration by your platform. How long would it take to build, and how much would it cost?
Great. So yes, Tina. So basically, our platform is designed from ground up to basically be very robust, very modular, and it's fairly easy for us to extend our platform. There are multiple different mechanisms of how the platform can be extended, both from internal way or external way. So internally, if it's something that, if it's an integration that we feel like will benefit other customers as well, so we will talk to you and we'll build an integration for you. So that's fairly easy for us to do. We will plan it out and we'll schedule it for development. Alternatively, if it's something really custom that you need to build for your own specific product, we offer a very robust API. Pretty much everything I showed you, all the different aspects of our system can be accessed through the API. And this is something you could extend, your development team can extend it yourself. So pretty much loading the data into our system, placing orders, using connectors, publishing content back, all of those different things are available through our public API. We're about to push our latest version, V2, which enhances our current API. And you'll be able to do any type of integration. So thanks for asking that question. And then if it's something you're interested in, please contact us and we will look at what you're specifically looking for.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Michael. That looks like it's it from questions. Of course, by all means, if something comes up that we haven't addressed, or if a question comes up, a day or two later, feel free to please reach out to us. You can contact anybody either through the website, through our emails. I believe we probably had communication with the vast majority of you, but any emails that you've gotten with either Tristan or myself or Michael, our lines of communication are always open. We're more than happy to give a demo or have any pricing discussion offline anytime as well. But other than that, we really appreciate you all joining us for this demo today, and we plan on having more webinars coming soon. So definitely keep an eye out on any email blasts, check back on our website, check back on our Twitter and LinkedIn and other social channels to keep an eye out for when those are coming. I don't know, Tristan, if you had anything else to add in terms of thanking everybody. Otherwise, I'm good from my end here. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks. This is Tristan. Thanks, Jonas, Michael. Really appreciate everybody's time today. We hope this was beneficial as you look to serve your clients and grow your business internationally. And please join us on our next webinar coming up in a few weeks, and we will talk to you all then. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.